Good evening, one and all. I welcome you all for this pleasant evening, and I am very privileged to be part of this great initiation made by the Principal Association to have this webinar on New Educational Policy 2020. This will throw the great light in for all the darkened areas and brighter areas on this new educational policy by these great speakers, and we hope we all will enjoy this great evening. Thank you. We can begin this program. I'm very, very thankful for all to arrange this great initiation. Thank you.
So we'll begin with the prayer song, Shankar sir.
We can have the prayer song, then we will invite Prakash sir.
Feeling thy presence, feeling thy grace, feeling thy radiance. You are my source of faith and strength. You are my path to destination, and I'm always connected to you. Nothing of me and everything of you. Lead me higher, lead me deeper, lead me beyond, lead me to you.
I'd like to invite Mr. Prakash Nair sir, who has a great contagious enthusiasm and as a visionary, and he is a visionary to make the next generation teaching leaders, and he puts all his energy and enthusiasm on developing the great leaders of next generation teachers. I invite him for this program to go forward. Thank you, sir.
Namaste. Dear and esteemed panelists of the day, my dearest academicians and educators and principals and school owners, and apart from all that, the parents and the students who are viewing this panel discussion, which will be going in a very informal way. And this panel discussion, before it is getting started, I am telling you, this was a mission that we all of us had. The mission was nothing, but I'll tell you briefly about the mission that we had. Immediately after national education policy was there, passed, and it was sanctioned, what a thought which came to the mind of all these educators like us was to identify the merits of national education policy and to bring to the knowledge of entire teaching fraternity and to the students and the parents. And this is one among the missions that we have taken as a project. And this project started only just 1 week back. And within 1 week period of time, we have started with a panel discussion, and this is for you, for all of you, and for all of us. At different parts of India, we have decided the group of panelists, the clusters of panelists, for different states like Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, and all. Within the next 1 week period of time, what we are going to discuss is the positive reforms that happened because of India's education policy, the new education policy. With this intro, let me quote a very important sentence that I can say from the introduction of national education policy. I find that it is very interactive. I found it is found to be a very interesting sentence. And it is nothing but, that it is being called as India will be having the highest youth population in the world within the next 1 decade. And this highest youth population within the next 1 decade, if we have the ability to provide the high quality educational opportunities to them, it is the return. If we are providing the highest quality education to the highest youth population in India, if we are providing, they will be shaping the future of our country. So with this most important highlight of introduction of national education policy, here I am finding a lot of participants who are hailing from different parts of India. My request to each and every participants who are participating in this group discussion, my request is very simple and very humble. I request all of you to be there next to 1 hour to listen, to deliberate, to discuss, to give an opinion on the discussion what we are going to make. And in this discussion, we have just only 3 areas. One is nothing but the introductory part, which I am going to deal with. And we have chapter 1. Chapter 1 is nothing but early childhood education, which is the foundation of learning. And chapter 2, it is nothing but the foundational literacy and numeracy. And in due course of time, I am telling you, we will be taking the remaining chapters, chapter 3, 4, and all. And all of you will be invited. My appeal to all of you to join with us in the next segment also on the remaining chapters of national education policy. And what is quality education that we have to think about before coming to the intro part of national education policy? Quality education, the universal access to quality education. We have the universal access to quality education that is ensuring the economic growth of any country. And India is not a part. When we think about economic growth, the economic growth of our country is existing within the clutches of the hands of the youth. Youth, if you consider, you can see there are 2 kinds of youth. One is unskilled labor and other is skilled labor. Unskilled labor, very well, because of the machines and the artificial intelligence, as you know very well, because of machines and artificial intelligence, because of the mechanization, the number of people who are needed for unskilled labor has been found to be greatly reduced. But the number of people which are there in need is nothing but, the skilled labor. Skilled labor we need. That is the need of the hour. Skilled labor in different subjects like mathematics, computer science, data science we need. And we need the skilled labor on multidisciplinary subjects like sciences, social sciences, humanities. And this is the era of climate change. You know very well, United Nations General Assembly's main theme in most of the cases, it will be climate change. We need the biology, the skilled labor, not unskilled labor, not white collar professionals. I am saying we need the skilled labor in biology, chemistry, physics, and climatic sciences. And there will be, I can say that there will be a great explosion. There will be a great explosion of the skilled labor in future in India. And there will be a great demand. There will be a great demand for humanities and art in future, for which what we require is an ultimate pedagogy, a different kind of pedagogy, where pedagogy should be dealing with experiential learning, holistic education, integrated curriculum, discovery-oriented education, learner-centered curriculum. And after all, that curriculum or the pedagogy should be highly flexible, and at the same time, there are so many students who are there listening to this program. I am telling you, and at the same time, that pedagogy should be an enjoyable one. And that is what we require. We need for those kinds of pedagogy to be implemented, we need a separate curriculum. And the curriculum should be there consisting of basic arts and craft, humanities, games, sports and fitness, languages, literature, culture, values. All these elements should be there incorporated in the curriculum. And one thing which I have understood from the introduction is the most important sentence which even our Honorable Prime Minister of India has already pointed out. The children are learning, but the children should learn how to learn. That is most important. The children should learn how to learn. If that process is completed, I can say the pillars of national education, the 5 pillars of education, national education policy will become very strong. Which are the 5 pillars of a national education policy? If you ask me, I can tell you. One is accessibility, equity, quality, affordability of education, and accountability of the teacher and accountability of the student community. These are all, most important pillars of national education policy. So I already told you a few things. I just want to recap the things which I told you. How, for what purpose, that we have formed and formulated national education policy. And the next one I can say is, what is the aim? What is the aim of our national education policy? Aim is very simple. Equitable access. Equitable access to the highest quality education. Highest quality education, I know very well. Oh, we all of us know. The highest quality education is always within the reach of the hands of the upper strata of the society as of now. That system will be completely changed. And the highest quality education will be there given regardless of the social and economic background. And it will be called as, equitable access to the highest quality education. And thereby what is going to happen is, each student will be there developing the creative potential of the child. And we will be producing an engaged and productive society. That is what we require. And every student, if national education policy in the purest sense, if it is implemented, I'm telling you very frankly, the cognitive skills of the students, critical thinking of the students, problem solving skill of the student, social skill, emotional skill, everything will be there nourished and developed. And what we require actually, character building. Character building is the thread of education. And that is the main thing of education. And main thing is always the main thing. Build the character of a child. Enable the learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate, and caring. That is the main aim of national education policy. I told you national education policy's aims. When aims comes, definitely there will be the vision playing vital role. What is the vision of national education policy? The vision in a nutshell, I can say, the global best education system. Global best education system, when we are adopting, one thing we should understand. When we are adopting the global best education system, we should ensure that it should be rooted in Indian ethos and transforming India into the global knowledge superpower. That is what we require. I repeat, transforming India into global knowledge superpower without losing our Indian ethos and values. But we will be having the global best education system. For that, what we require? There should be the pedagogical changes. The curriculum and pedagogy should be changed in such a way that the students should be there knowing the fundamental duties, the constitutional values, and the bonding that is missing, the bonding with our country. And apart from all this, the awareness about our roles and responsibilities. And apart from all this, the skills, the knowledge, values, without losing that, a certain education system should be there, encroached into our education system. Commitment to human rights should be one of the aims. Sustainable development should be one of the visions. And ultimately, global well-being, and thereby truly making that student as the global citizen. And that is called 21st century education. But when we go to 21st century education system, something is lost. That should not be happening. And what is lost? 21st century education, I will be able to say that it should be consistent with Indian traditions and values. And the child should be knowing what is empathy, what is perseverance, what is teamwork, and what is leadership. All these should be there, included in the education system. For that, what we require, it is nothing but holistic education. Dear members, the panelists, and those who are participating, you may be remembering the basic concept of education in Indian scenario. It goes like this. The famous slogan from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritangamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritangamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya. Lead me from untruth to truth. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Lead me from darkness to light. Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. Lead me from death to immortality. This is the basic concept of education. And that is called ancient education, ancient Indian knowledge about education. And what does ancient Indian knowledge teach us about education? Ancient Indian knowledge says about education as the complete realization and the liberation of the soul is called education. That is our ancient concept of education. And when we tend annals of India's educational history, the two famous universities which comes to our mind, one is Takshashila and Nalanda. These kinds of ancient universities only produced the famous personalities like Charaka, Susruta, Aryabhatta, Chanakya, Patanjali, Panini, after all, Tiruvallur, or all these famous personalities were produced by our ancient educational culture. And they were all expert. They were not specialized only on one particular area, remember that. They were experts in mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, medical science, surgery, yoga, fine arts, craft, and even chess. In all these areas, they were experts. There comes the importance of our national education policy. Because what our national education policies they're going to do is, if it is in the truth spirit, if it is implemented, I am telling you, we are going to integrate Indian culture into the holistic education, and the purpose of which is nothing but to develop the creativity of the child. Umpteen number of teachers are observing this presentation. I can see hundreds, thousands of people who are there seeing this presentation. Now I am saying, everyone will be having an eagerness to know, every teacher will be having, including me, to know what will be the condition of the teacher once National Education Policy 2020 is implemented. I'll tell you. You should be confident in that. I should be confident in that to say that we will be reinstating the teachers as the most respected members of our society, most respected members of the society, empowering teachers, helping to recruit the brightest people to enter into the teaching profession, which is normally not happening. The brightest of the brightest only will be coming to the teaching profession, and it will never be becoming the last resort of the professionals. And National Education Policy is ensuring every teacher their livelihood, respect, dignity, and autonomy and accountability. Teachers, dear teachers, you are the heart of the learning process. And your rigorous training, recruitment, preparation, continuous professional development, your positive working environment and service conditions, all these are there ensured in National Education Policy. I told about what will be the condition of educators or the teachers once it is implemented. Now let us come to the marginalized group of Indian society. And to marginalized group of Indian society, the group of students, National Education Policy is providing the quality education system to the marginalized, to the disadvantaged, to the underrepresented, underprivileged categories of people. And National Education Policy is there ensuring all the students from each of these group I mentioned, they're ensuring the opportunities to enter into the education system and access to quality education. Remember, it should be considered as the fundamental right of the citizens. Let me take a view about the previous policies, which I am not going to deal with in an elaborate way. In due course of time, in different chapters, you can see the previous educational policies. But one thing I can say you, all the previous policies, 1986, 1968, 1992 amendment and all, they were dealing with the focus was always about issues of accessibility and equity. And there was no emphasis on quality of education. And a major development, if you want to say, the major development after 1986, 1992 policy is nothing but right of children to free and compulsory education act. Coming to the final areas of introduction is nothing but principles of national education policy. The first principle is nothing but flexibility. I remember in one of the advertisements, one student was telling, he's asking one question. How can university decide what the course of study that I should study? Let me decide what I have to study. Let me take this as a quote from one of the students. Then I'll tell you, national education policies, they're ensuring flexibility, and the learners will be, the students will be getting their own programs they can take based on their talent and interest they can take. There is no hard separations like arts, science, curricular, extracurricular, vocational, academic. There is no such kind of strict compartmentalization. And for what purpose this is there completely avoided? It is to ensure the integrity and unity of knowledge. That is what we require. And there will be, I'm telling you, under the principles of national education policy, there will be multidisciplinary holistic education, conceptual understanding, and no rote learning system at all, creativity, critical thinking, ethics, and all the life skills of the students will be there ensured in national education policy. And what is the process that is going to happen is there will be regular formative assessment, not just coaching style and then assessment like summative assessment alone. And there will be respect for the diversity in curriculum. India is a country consisting of multitudes of states with different languages. But there is, remember, you should understand one thing. There is a respect for diversity in curriculum and pedagogy that is there ensured in national education policy. Equity and inclusion, because you know very well, education is a concurrent subject. Constitutionally, it is a concurrent subject. So equity and inclusion is there ensured. There is a constant regulatory system for integrity and encouraging innovative out-of-the-box ideas through autonomy, good governance, and empowerment. All these things are there ensured. And now let me say you, when I conclude, I'll tell you, you should understand that National Education Policy 2020, according to that, education is a public service and it is not a commercial activity, remember. It is not a source of profit at all. Knowledge is not for business. Education for education for employability. It is not a commercial activity. It is not a source of profit, but it is, at the same time, I'm telling you, there will be the private participation. And that private participation will be very true and philanthropic participation. Very true and philanthropic private participation, that will be the thing. Okay, let me recap what I have told you. I told you about quality education and the need of the skilled labor and what kind of pedagogy that we will be having, what kind of curriculum that we will be having, what are the pillars of national education policy, aims and visions of national education policy, and how 21st century education will be incorporated in holistic education, what will be the teachers' conditions and what will be the condition of the marginalized groups of society, and what were the previous policies and what are the principles of national education policy. These are the things that I have taught you. I have taken a couple of minutes from the learned panelists, and this is the time for me to invite my co-panelist, Dr. Premalada. Dr. Premalada, she is a very dedicated and a committed academic advisor, and she is the strategic academic success coach, rather I can say. A very progressive teacher who is seriously thinking about how to focus on progressive education. Now, this is the chance for Dr. Premalada to speak out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear all, my humble pranams. I'm here to share my views and understanding about the early childhood care and education, abbreviated as ECCE, as per the National Educational Policy 2020. Let us see what is special about early childhood care and education. You know, the present academic structure of education is 10 long years of schooling, that is classes 1 to 10 plus 11th and 12th 2 years. So it is 10 plus 2 structure. The new educational policy, the National Educational Policy 2020, has come out with the new academic structure of school education. The first is the foundational stage, which comprises of children of age group 3 to 8 comes under this foundational group. The second one is the preparatory classes, where we have like children of classes 3, 4, and 5. The third is the middle stage where we have classes 6, 7, and 8. The fourth is the secondary stage, where we have children of classes 9, 10, 11, and 12. So 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 is the new academic structure of school education given by National Educational Policy 2020. You might ask me, what is the new inclusion or what is the speciality about this NEP? I would say that this early childhood care and education is the new inclusion, and it is of very high importance. The new Educational Policy 2020 has included children of age group 3 to 8, and this comes under the new academic structure of school education. Let us see why it has been included. There are three broad stages of child development and growth. The first one is, we call it as early childhood, right from birth to 8 years. Again, this early childhood could be divided into three stages from 0 to 3, 3 to 6, and 6 to 8. All these three comes under ECC, and this forms the foundation of learning and foundation for learning. I think you would ask me, like, why this is taken as the foundation of learning. Evidence shows that, like, neuroscience says that 85% of the child's cumulative brain development happens before the age of 6. No, there's excellent care, nurture, nutrition, the physical environment, the cognitive and the emotional development, the social environment, the stimulation of the child's brain before 6 years is of critical importance, that the brain development happens in an appropriate manner, and consequently the desirable learning curves will happen in the over a person's entire lifetime. So it is important and urgent to speak and talk about and implement ECCE. The aim of ECCE is to bring about the best overall development, provide like stages of learning and stages for learning, and in overall well-being. Yes, come on, let us see, like, what are the plans which the National Educational Policy 2020 has. The NCERT is going to draft a new curricular and pedagogical framework for early childhood care and education based on the recent research on ECCE and the best practices in national and international levels. This curricular framework is going to have two sub-frameworks. First part is going to deal with the children of age group 0 to 3, and this is intended for the parents and teachers. And here the aim is to stimulate the appropriate cognitive development of the child, and thus paving way for the holistic development. The second one is the educational framework meant for children of age group 3 to 8 years. And this is intended for parents, teachers, workers, like who are handling children of classes pre-KG, LKG, UKG, classes 1 and 2. Then apart from these two frameworks, NCERT is also going to draft a 3 months play-based a school preparation program for grade 1 students in a playway manner, which is going to be in a very playway manner. See, apart from this, because all of us know that India is facing a learning crisis now. That is, the children who are there in the primary classes are really left behind, and they are really struggling with the basic numeracy and the literacy. What I'm trying to say is that, we need to strengthen the 3 R's. So, steps are being taken to improve that as well. So let us see about the new curricular and the pedagogical plans. See, there's a new curricular and the pedagogy is going to be very, very flexible. It's going to be multifaceted and multi-level, and it is inquiry-based and discovery-based system, which aims to teach alphabets, numbers, and languages, most importantly, the regional and the mother tongue. And how are they going to teach this? This is going to happen through art integration. Art integration in the sense both visual arts and performing arts, and all playway methods, indoor and outdoor activities. See, the key point of the framework is the multilingual skills, because the children learn languages most quickly between ages of 0 to 8. The language development is an important factor for the cognitive development of children. So this framework is going to instill multilingual skills as early as possible to all the children. And NCF is also going to, extensively incorporate the rich cultural traditions of India and the local traditions in respect to ECCE through arts, songs, stories, and customs and celebrations. The overall aim of ECCE is to attain optimal development in the domains of physical and motor development, mental development, intellectual development, psychological development, scientific development, spiritual development, emotional development, aesthetic development, language development, and cultural development. In nutshell, I should say that the new curriculum and pedagogy would be really learning would be holistic, integrated, enjoyable, and engaging. Yes. See, now presently we find that, see, there's when Sir was talking about the previous policies, yes, the previous policy also has taken efforts to see that ECC is implemented. But their focus was only on the equity and the access, and they dropped the baton of quality. I think, so this, now we see that has really affected the system, because children who are there in the primary classes are really, really lagging behind in the basic numerical and literary skills. So, because of the, this quality ECC was not accessible to them. Now we find that presently this quality ECC must be accessible to the all the children, particularly the economically disadvantaged children. So what does this plan or the policy have? The new curricular and the pedagogical framework of early childhood care and education will be delivered through a four-pronged approach. I think first is the standalone Anganwadis, the second is the standalone preschools, the third one is the co-locating the Anganwadis with the primary schools, and the fourth one is co-locating the preschools with the primary schools. And the parents, teachers, and workers will be trained, thoroughly trained for this new pedagogy and curriculum, to handle this new pedagogy and the curriculum. So next one, I find that this ECC is going to be, has the greatest power, and this is going to be an equalizer. As we saw, this quality ECC was a big question for most of the children, particularly the economically disadvantaged groups. So government has taken initiatives, or the new pedagogical and the curriculum framework of ECC is going to deliver this through the state governments for all the children. It's going to be a free education, and so it is going to be free, it's going to be accessible, and it's going to be of high quality. So this way, I find that this ECC is going to be really the greatest and the most powerful equalizer. We find that this, for all the reasons, right from the brain development of the child and the school preparedness and improved learning outcomes and improved learning outcomes and the equity and justice, employability and prosperity of the nation and the economic growth of the country, India must invest in quality ECC and make quality ECC accessible to all the children. I think by doing so, the overarching goal of ECC, that is the universal provisioning of ECC, will be made available for all the children in a very phased manner by 2030, so that will give us assurance that children of when they enter grade 1 they will be school ready, and that's going to be the success of this early childhood care and education program of given by National Educational Policy 2020. I think my friend and a great innovative educationalist, Dr. V. Bindu, is here, and she has the authority to talk about the remaining topics of this chapter. And may I invite Dr. Bindu ma'am, and she's the principal of HBS Huzur, and she's a psychologist, and she is she's the CBSE resource person, and she has a vast experience of 25 years, and she's a mentor, and she is an educational consultant for many schools in India and abroad. I feel really privileged to welcome Bindu ma'am. Ma'am, over to you.
Good evening, namaste, pranam. Eminent panelists of the day and esteemed principals across the country and from abroad, and the wonderful team here who have gathered, teachers, parents and students. I can see some students also here, and all the well-wishers and honors of the schools. Actually, it's a great thing that I could share something about national education policy, and that the first two chapters we are focusing today. So with the arrival of National Education Policy 2020, actually the Indian Union Education Ministry, it's actually taking a promise or is committed to take our country to another level, that is a global education country. Okay, it is a commitment. We all have to share it. We all have to work hard for achieving that dream. It is actually going to transform the entire scenario of education sector in our country, and that will affect even the toddlers to the researchers. Okay, so this scenario is going to be seen soon. Okay, so we have to start. That is why the need to spread this idea across the people, across the country now. The need has arrived now. Now, I believe that, so this has to be done in a very fast pace also. And the major focus is on the numeracy, literacy, and the problem solving skills of the children, the life skills of the children, value, everything. Okay, I believe that, personally, I believe that education is the best gift that we can give to our children. The investment which we give on education sector is not going to be wasted. We'll be taking the dividend in the years, or maybe after some years. Okay, but we all know that there is a crisis in learning. The quality of the learning of the education is not at par with other countries. We all agree with that. And Prakash sir has rightly told in the beginning that the focus was on towards the equity and accessibility for all. Now the focus is entirely on quality. Now, there are a lot of reasons behind that. A lot of studies have been made on the learning levels of the children, or the learning outcome, the standard of the children. And one among is ASER. ASER is that annual status of education report, ASER. So according to the study of the ASER, 51% of grade 1 are not able to read. They are in grade 1, still they are not able to read. Okay. And majority, they are in the preschool, they don't have that experience. 60% of grade 5 are not able to solve the problems of grade 3. Grade 5 children are not able to solve the problems in the maths textbook of grade 3. And 41% of grade 7 are not able to read the grade 4 textbooks. So we can very well understand that there is a gap. The learning outcome is not met in many of the levels or in many of the cases. That is why the focus is on the learning outcome or the competency-based education now. Another important reason why this preschool has been given importance is another thing. Like you all must have heard about PISA, that is Program for International Student Assessment Test. In 2009, that also is organized by OECD, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. They organized this test, and in 2009, we participated. Out of 73 countries, India's position was 72 only. So that is based on the level, grade 10, 15-year-old children appeared the test. That was, the students appeared from Tamil Nadu and Himachal Pradesh, and their numeracy and mathematical skill and reading skills were assessed. And see, that was our condition. We got 72 position, and Kyrgyzstan was the other country who got 73. That is the last one. So from now onward, from those days onwards, India was thinking of improving the learning outcome or the standard or the quality of the children. In 2021, India is going to appear again. After a long gap of this many years, we are going to appear again. So, our learning, our children should be competent enough to face the test, to meet the challenges of all these things. That is why the critical years have been given more importance. Let me share my screen now, just a moment. I hope if you can able to see that. Okay. So the priority is given to the disadvantaged locations in the beginning. In the national education policy, the priority is given to the children from the disadvantaged or socio-economically poor sections. Even now, you see, there are thousands of Anganwadis are running across in the country now. But very few children from the affluent families, those children very rarely go and study there. So we have to make a lot of changes in the mindset of that. So this quality education, this early childhood care and education, that national education policy, that will be delivered through the stand-alone Anganwadis. So here Anganwadis are going to get a new face. Their face is going to be changed now. So first one, it is can be the stand-alone Anganwadis. There are Anganwadis which stand alone, or Anganwadis co-located with primary schools, or pre-primary sections co-located with primary schools, or stand-alone preschools. So in the 4 types of ways, in the 4 levels, the schools, the institutions, or Anganwadis, this delivery will happen. That is the first thing that they are focusing on through Anganwadi. So till now, the Anganwadis are located and they take care of the nutrition and the food and the health aspect of the children. So now for the first time, they are that age 3 is included as the formal education period. So from age 3 onwards, children enter into a formal education. Formerly it was class 1 onwards. Now it is age 3 onwards. That is why the 5 years are important. Ma'am has already told that 85% of the cognitive development happen between the age of 3 to 8. So we need to tap those periods. So we need to give quality education at that age. Now at present, children are not going there. So they enter into, many of the children join the school at the age of 6. So they lose that wonderful years of quality learning. And those who attend Anganwadis also, they are not getting proper structured curriculum. So that is going to be changed. And the goal of this ECCE is universal access. High quality infrastructure will be there. In the national education policy, it is given like high quality infrastructure will be there. I told that Anganwadi, the phase of the Anganwadi is going to be changed completely now. Play equipments will be there, well-trained teachers, child-friendly building, enriched learning environment, and activity field tools. Activity field tools are also there, field tools, so that they always have a connection with the other schools, primary schools. So it should be a continuous process. You know, when they go to KG, means kindergarten, at the age of 4, they should not feel the gap. So that is why they are always connected with the other school, primary school. So collaboration with the primary schools and school complexes also they are emphasizing. There should be a collaboration and sharing of all the resources, so that from the age of 3 to age of 8, they should work together. So the curriculum also is well structured. That is called preparatory class or Balavadiga, before class 1. Preparatory class or foundation stage, very critical stage. So the teachers are ECC qualified teachers. They should get the qualification and they should have a certified program. They should attend that. So the curriculum is completely play-based and equity-based, inquiry-based, fun-filled, that tap the cognitive and affective and behavior, social. Ma'am has listed out many things that affect all the domains which are very critical at this time. Cognitive development happens very quickly at this age. That happens every day in our lives, but for their age, it happens rapidly. So that is why we need to make use of that particular time or age group. Development of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. So this curriculum and pedagogy focuses on the development of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. Early literacy and numeracy is given importance, and midday meal program also will be continued, and moreover that there will be a breakfast also. That also they are mentioning. Health checkups will be continuously, they will be regularly monitored their health, because body is important. Health checkup will be there. Growth monitoring also is given importance. And ECCE teachers, I told that they are highly qualified and the quality is ensured, well trained. So these are some of the training programs which would be given to them. 6-month certificate program for the teachers who have completed 10+2 and above. And those who have got lower than 10+2, 1-year diploma course. And besides all these things, they need to attend 1-month conduct class. And in the national education policy, I really admire the way it is being done. Like their working time will not be wasted at all, because digital mode also they can get the training. Now everything is online, so it is easy for them to attend this training. So that will not affect their work. They can continue the work, they can continue working, but they need to get this certification. Mentoring by cluster resource centers of SED. So there should be proper mentoring of these teachers, and there will be cadres of educators in longer term. So slowly these educators will be, highly qualified, highly trained. So that is why it is called cadres of educators. So continuous professional development would be ensured to these teachers. So this is going to change the entire society now. So what I believe that the paradigm is been wonderfully mentioned in national education policy about all these things. And along with that, the parents' support also should be ensured. One of the important stakeholder at this period of time is the parent. We cannot deny their support and the role that they are doing in continuing or ensuring the education. So which I mentioned that at present, students from the low background, economically low background, comparatively, they are attending the Anganwadis now. So they should be knowing about all these things. So that part also has to be ensured. That is my personal suggestion. Now, that is mentioned in National Education Policy. It is a 60-page, National Education Policy contains 60 pages, and from out of that, 25 pages has been given to school education alone. Okay, so the parents also have to be educated about this. Otherwise, they will not understand the change that has happened in the Anganwadi or the educational scenario. So proper information should be given to them through the media or through some other ways. Awareness should be cultivated. So for that, we all have to work together. And it's not merely getting the awareness or information. They are actually teaching the children, delivering the content at home most of the time. So the language should be their mother tongue, so that it would be easy for them to deliver the content or the curriculum or the syllabus to the children. Okay, so that part also should be ensured. The content should be easy and deliverable mode, and proper assessment also has to be done. Otherwise, the aim will be lost. Whether the children are attaining this learning outcome, that should be properly assessed. Okay, and in tribal dominated area, National Education Policy, they talks about ashram shalas. It is already there in the tribal areas. So no child is left behind now. All the children are getting quality education. It ensures all the children, all types of children, even the gifted children, they are mentioned in the education policy. Those who have differently abled, or those who come from the socio-economical background families, sections of the country, and that they are also mentioned. The quality education should be given to them, how it should be given. Girls should not be left behind. So even that is why the tribal areas, the education should be provided and the quality should be ensured. Ashram shalas would be empowered. Those teachers also would be empowered. And the curriculum and pedagogy responsibility. Now, at present, there is no particular curriculum or pedagogy. Now, MHRD is going to take the entire responsibility. Ministry of Human Resource Development is going to take the entire responsibility, and women and child development, health and family welfare, tribal welfare, and all together they work for this implementation part and this curriculum and pedagogy. They ensure that the quality will not be lost, and the continuous and smooth integration of all the beautiful playway method, activity oriented, which affects the cognitive, behavioral, social, and fine motor development of the children would be properly integrated in the curriculum. And it's a special joint task for the guidance. The guidance also and the assessment also would be properly maintained. All the guidelines NCERT would be giving out in the form of manuals. Anganwadi 3-year, the curriculum, we would be getting soon from NCERT. NCERT would be giving us the guidelines. So somebody has asked in the chat box when this would be implemented. This Anganwadi, this 3-year-old, the formal education starting at the age of 3, that would be implemented soon in the gap of 5 years. That is 2025, that should be implemented. And altogether, the implementation takes in phases, slowly, depending upon the states, depending upon the condition of the place. So flexibility is given. So in 20 years' time, that is 2040, this could be implemented. That was the dream of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Vision 2020. But now we have a Vision 2040. So with a joint, that is a joint effort. All the educationists should work for that. Even the private and the public sector, there should not be any differentiation. We all should handhold and then think about implementing quality in the education. So thank you. And I take this opportunity to thank the Principal Association and the MEDGI and EduPerts for organizing this wonderful webinar at this time on ECCE. Now let me welcome another eminent speaker of the day, celebrated speaker, academician, counselor, resource person of CBSE, who served on committees overseeing educational policies and who have contributed to columns on national news perspectives, Mr. S. Padmanabhan, Principal of Vivekananda Academy. So welcome you, sir, to this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Bindu ma'am. It fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial interest that the participants of this webinar evinced this evening. I thank you in the name of the most ancient order of educators. I thank you in the name of Guru of Gurus. I thank you in the name of millions and millions of teachers of all levels across the globe. I am proud to belong to the order of educators of this great nation who strive sincerely and tirelessly to touch, inspire, educate the masses, who taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. I am proud to belong to the class of educators who are altruistically committed to serve and transform lives in positive direction. I am proud to belong to the nation of educators who are class apart in upholding noble human values and earnestly endeavor to conquer the ever-changing global trends. My topic today is the significance of ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education, the urgent need for foundational literacy and numeracy. Before that, the policy on which the panel is going on will fulfill the expectations of the 21st century. It will certainly fulfill the expectations of the 21st century from all directions, to everyone, to all the stakeholders of the domain called education. This policy has come after 3 decades. Much thoughts have been driven into this policy by the policy makers, formulators, Government of India, under the leadership of this Prime Minister, Ministers of Human Resource Development, and all the people who are behind this great job have taken a pledge to redeem the last forgotten glory of this great nation called Bharat India. India and the learning, the timeless ancient wisdom associated with this country have been forgotten, undermined in the recent years. This policy, National Policy on Education 2020, will bring back the lost glory of this great nation, of the educational tradition of this country called India. Why early childhood care education is significant? Education in itself is an investment in the future and for the present. ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education, in fact, is an investment in education. Any structure to be lasting, to stand for the time, to withstand the passing sands of time, should be strong enough. The strength of any structure depends upon the foundation. So what is the foundation of the educational structure? Foundation of educational structure is the early childhood care and education. Early childhood care and education will help the children, young learners at the age of 3 to 6 in successful attainments of their foundational literacy. For the first time, the recommendations in this regard were made by the Educational Commission 1964-66, led by Dr. Kothari. Later, in the policy of education in the year 1986, it was reiterated establishment of primary educational centers in every district with the help of the state institutes of educations proposed. National Curricular Framework for School Education 2000 has reiterated the importance of early childhood care and education. 10th five-year plan called in ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education, as the first step in the ladder of education. So it has got its own importance, significance in the educational structure. So this policy of education has appropriately understood the significance of early childhood care and education and the principles, the strategies, the techniques, the methods to be adopted to make it meaningful, relevant in this 21st century by the policy is really purposeful and it will serve the purpose. The children in the age group 3 to 6 have brought into the mainstream. Early childhood education indeed is more inclusive than pre-primary education. It aims at fostering health, psyche, social, educational, nutritional development of children learners. Children at this stage need to be encouraged to develop positive thoughts, to develop positive ideas, positive attitudes, how it could be done. So the policy of education has got methods through child and nature, child and child interactions. Early childhood care and education in this policy is designed carefully to provide for an all-round holistic growth and development of children who are involved in this education. So what do you mean by holistic all-round development of education? Neuromuscular development, sensory development, observational skills, development of observational skills, development of self-expressional skills, skills to promote habits of health and hygiene. All these things will come under the design proposed by National Education Policy for the early childhood care and education. How the teachers would be equipped? There are methods enshrined in this policy for how the teachers could be equipped to take it into this domain of education. Besides various curricular and pedagogical inputs, concerns, concerted efforts have to be made to sensitize the teachers who involve in educating the young minds to channelize their exuberant imaginative energies into educational channels. Our ancient wisdom through Swami Vivekananda says, education is the manifestation of perfection contained in human beings. So it has to happen. It has to blossom. It was rightly told by the previous panelists that anything to be great should be started when it is young. At the tender age, things are possible. So children need to be addressed of their abilities. Children need to be trained. Children need to be appreciated. Children need to be developed, cultivated of their competencies when they're young. There is a famous saying in Tamil, "Aindil valayadadu, aimbadil valayadu." Anything to become great and strong, to become reliable and reasonable, should start when it is tender, when it is young. So this policy on education has great emphasis on early childhood care and education. Now our country is facing a learning crisis. Over 5 crore of children in the age group of 6 have not attained foundational literacy and numeracy. What do we mean by foundational literacy and numeracy? It is the ability to read and write, the ability to process basic operations in Indian numbers have not been attained by 5 crore of children in our nation. The country which is supposed to have possess the youngest population The children of this country are the leaders of not only this country, but the world tomorrow. The world is eagerly looking at the progressive steps taken by this nation called India. So children in the lower classes will become leaders after 10 years. They need to have strong foundation. This policy of education has paved way to equip the foundational numeracy and literacy of the children in the lower state of the education. They are brought into the mainstream. So now when we see this education at the early age, ECE, it promotes the holistic all-round development because it is foundational. It is essentially fundamental for the holistic development of children. It refines the sensitivities and perceptions that would contribute to national cohesion when the children grow. That would contribute to the scientific temper when the children grow. That would contribute to the independence of spirit and mind when the children grow into different person of resources to serve the society in different capacity. So the key lies in the foundational stage. In the previous years, probably the significance was restricted in the early stages. Even in the secondary level, the significance was restricted only to examination. Dr. Prakash, when he introduced the session today, told the importance of the Indian system of education. It doesn't believe in preparing children for the examination. It believes in preparing children for self-realization. Self-realization is the ultimate goal of Indianized education system. Anybody who has realized the self, anybody who has understood that the inherent potential is divine, spiritual, with the inherent possibilities, will become a fantastic person to this global society. Will know to inquire, is fully aware of himself, herself, will know exactly to relate brilliantly to the earth and to the fellow living beings, will know to adapt appropriately in this earth. This is what is called as laying foundation in the early stages. So, strengthening the foundational literacy and numeracy, how it could be done? It will be done by certain policies. Of course, teachers are trained appropriately to educate the students, to facilitate the students of their energies, of their intellectual talents. The teachers will be trained to understand, sensitize the teachers that the children who are interested under their care are unique for their mental and physical inheritance. They are unique for their individual profile of multiple talents. So when the teachers have understood that each and every child who is interested in their care, in fact, is a potentially divine seed, then they become the real facilitator who would pave the ways for the competencies, the abilities, the other skills to get explored, to get manifested. That is what is called as the foundational facilitation. Again, the policy has given a clarion call to all the people, irrespective of their position and profession. On the curricular side, there will be an increased focus on foundational literacy and numeracy, generally on reading, writing, on counting, arithmetic. There is another policy, another principle in this new education policy on early childhood care and education. It talks about a school preparation module for the children who have not been equipped appropriately for the first grade. There is an interim 3-month play-based school preparation module for all grade 1 students, consisting of fantastic activities. First of all, what will the children learn? So what is the characterization of the education at this early stage? Education at this early stage is characterized through or consisting of group discussions, number games, color games, language games, and the actions promoting socialization, environmental awareness among children learners. So this interim 3-month school preparation module will equip the child appropriately in the expected minimum foundational abilities in literacy and numeracy. So this policy has taken a fantastic effort and the teachers will be guided appropriately. Again, a national repository of high quality books, resources on foundational literacy and numeracy will be set up. There are plans given by the MHRD to all the SCRT and the NCRT will prepare a national repository of high quality resources for foundational literacy and numeracy will be delivered through Diksha, digitally infrastructure knowledge sharing facility. Technological interventions by all means will not be left unturned. It will all be utilized to educate the children in the early childhood care and education. Due to the scale of the current learning crisis of this nation, all viable methods available will be explored, says the policy. This policy emphasizes on one important aspect called one-on-one peer tutoring. Each one teach one. In order to attain the foundational numeracy and literacy by 2025, universal access, universal attainment of foundational literacy and numeracy by 2025, we must go on one-on-one peer tutoring. It should be effective for learning, not just for the learner, but also for the tutor. That is the powerful tool. That is the powerful system which is incorporated into the early childhood care and education by this new education policy. Every literate member of this community could commit to teaching one student, one person how to read, says the policy. It's a welcoming idea by the policy formulators. Enjoyable and inspirational books for students at all levels will be developed, including through high quality translated, technology assisted as needed in all local and Indian languages will be made available extensively in both school and local public libraries. That is the clarion call, and that is the mandatory implications in this national education policy to improve the foundational numeracy and literacy. Digital libraries will be established. Public libraries will be made available to all the people irrespective of their position, situation, location. A national book promotion policy will be formulated. An extensive initiative will be undertaken to ensure availability, accessibility, quality, readership of books across geographies, languages, levels, and genre. Fantastic move by this policy in this early childhood care and education. Dear participants and my dear educators, the people in the panel, the people helping us to host this great event, we must understand that the country, India, was rich in all spheres of educational considerations. Everything was available. When we talk about the so-called developed nations of this world, when they were not in this geographical geographical position, the country India had universities inviting scholars from all across the world, had n number of disciplines. What was not available? Everything was there, from medicine, astronomy, mathematics, general science, whatnot. Everything was there. So this policy aims at bringing back the lost glory of this great nation, of the educational tradition. It is in the hands of all the teachers. It is in the hands of all the administrators. It is in the hands of all the parents. Of course, the student learners understand we are going to involve in a great job of national construction. By 2025, the foundational numeracy and literacy will be attained. So the children in the foundational age will be made into resources appropriately, they will be promoted to the next level of education, where they will learn what they have to learn to become a real resource manpower for this emerging nation. If we have to call our country a developed one by 2030, this policy should be considered by all its minds. It should be practiced, implemented earnestly. Then the nation will become a developed nation by 2030. I'm sure. Why? Because the policy has got programs of actions. If those programs of actions implemented appropriately, the country will have developed manpower, because education is the only source that develops manpower for the nation. It is the basic substrata on which research and development flourishes. That would bring ultimately the country on its feet. Self-reliant stature of the country is possible by getting manpower for this country. It is possible only through education. The quality of a nation depends upon the quality of its citizens. The quality of citizens depends upon precisely the quality of their education. The quality of education very precisely, predominantly depends upon the quality of you, me, and all of us who involve in this system of education. We must understand our role, that we are involved in a great role. We are involved in nation building activity. So we must understand that the children who are interested under our care should be promoted, should be facilitated, should be developed of their unique physical and mental inheritances. This policy, new policy of education 2020, especially with regard to early childhood care and education, has got ample scope for all the teachers of our kind to involve ourselves wholeheartedly, to commit ourselves altruistically, to take steps forward tirelessly, strivelessly, to take the children, the young generation who are under our care towards the pinnacle of success. I think that I have done justice to the topic given to me, and I must thank the organizers, my fellow panelists, Dr. Prakash, Dr. Premalada, Dr. Bindu. My special thanks goes to Mr. Shankar, Director of Eduperts, and the people behind Medji, and all those, the audience, the participants, the teachers, the principals, coordinators, parents, students, everyone who is enjoying this session. We feel that the session has thrown some light in the new education policy with a special reference to the first 2 chapters of school education. And we are sure to bring in more such webinars in the coming weeks. With regard to that, I would like to invite my friend, Dr. Prakash, to talk about the series which are going to be rolled out in the coming days. And dear participants, all your certificates, e-certificates will be posted to your mail. So be relaxed. And once again, I thank you all for your patience, and your takeaway will be meaningful. Thank you once again. Prakash sir.
Yes, sir. Dr. Padmanabhan sir, I am very happy to see you all by 7:30 now. I can see the smiling faces on the screen. Sonal Jain from another part of the street. Dr. J.K. Gulati, Dr. Jacqueline, Srilata, Jansi Rani, all I can say. And Sakti Mohanty, all these people are there hailing from different parts of the country. It's a great success, I can say, that we are making all these people, all these educators in a single forum. Representing each state, they have come to this line, this session. And I know that the viewpoints which were made by Dr. Bindu, Dr. Padmanabhan, and Dr. Premalata are all highly praiseworthy ones. And I can find hundreds of questions. Hundreds of questions are there in the chat box, which are short to us. But there are a few questions which we could have been answered, but I'm not taking all the questions. But let you allow me to take only one question, one statement. And the statement goes like this. The statement was written by Pragya Pradhan. And she has written, policies are good. Policies are good in paper, but it is difficult to implement. What a wonderful statement that she has made. Of course, 100% I am accepting the statement made by Pragya Pradhan. Policies are in paper, but effectiveness of the policy. I can see on the screen empty number of teachers. I can see the number of teachers who are attending. Thousands have participated in this session. And all these teachers, I am telling you a statement. I repeat the statement. Effectiveness of any policy, whatever may be the policy, effectiveness of any policy will be there decided by the implementation process. And who has to implement? You have to implement. You are the persons who are going to implement this best education policy after 34 years. The best educational policy India has put forward. The policy is there in front of you. Now you are the people who has to implement this process. Remember, when you are implementing, it should be implemented with a true spirit and true intent, based on which this policy has been formed and formulated. And it will be, as Dr. Bindu has already told, it will be there implemented in a phased manner. The most important things will be there implemented first, and there will be critical reviews in due course of time. Anything which is happening slowly will be successful. And this slow process we are also taking. We have not discussed the entire education policy at all now. There are days to come, and all the forthcoming days, I am telling you, we are going to discuss the other chapters. Chapter 3, 4, chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, like that we will be there discussing on different forums. And I expect all of you, I can see a lot of curiosity on the face of all these participants. All are good learners, I have understood. All of you will be there attending with that, with that expectation. Let me invite the organizers to give a vote of thanks. Thank you.
May I invite Shyam from Epporul to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizers. Hello, sir. Hello.
Dr. Premalata, madam, I think you can come forward and express the vote of
I
thanks.
think you can conclude the session. So we'll conclude the session there, sir.
Fine. Madam, you can conclude the session.
Dear all, I think we don't have words to give our thanks because you have taken out time all the way to join us this evening. I think on behalf of the organizers and the sponsors,